Good morning, everyone. Welcome to session 2 of anger management. Our focus today will be on the events and cues that will provoke us to anger. These events may be different from person to person. We also call the cues triggers. So these are the things that could trigger us to anger. Once again, what may trigger me to anger may not trigger you to anger. What may trigger you to anger may not trigger me to anger. So here are some different types of events that could lead to anger. Number 1, having to wait in a long line for a long time, or on the phone, or in the office, just waiting and waiting. We can become angry because we are waiting. Being stuck in traffic or on a crowded bus. You know, sometimes when you're driving and someone cut in front of you, then you give them the finger. Well, when you give them the finger, you're actually angry. So being stuck in traffic, when someone cut you off, being on a crowded bus, trying to get to your destination and it's taking forever to get there, this can trigger us to anger. When someone, like a friend or a coworker, is saying things that will bring hurt to you. So those things that are hurtful to you that someone else may say or do can provoke anger. Having to clean up someone else's mess. Having someone to owe you money and not pay you back. Having a neighbor who is inconsiderate. Having a frustrating person or situation to occur on the internet. These are other things that can trigger you to anger. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about, just for a few minutes, what are some of the general events and situations that led to anger for you? The next question that I want you to think about, what are some of the red flag events and situations associated with anger for you? We all have them. The whole point is to recognize these triggers and to stop the behavior of anger before it gets started, because you recognize the trigger. So once you recognize the trigger, you can do something about it. You can stop anger from occurring. So remember the last session, we talked about the anger meter. So if you're at a 3 on the anger meter because of one of these situations that have occurred in your life, then guess what? You can stop anger from occurring. You can do anything that's going to make you feel more relaxed. So one of the things that I like to do when I'm feeling a little stressed or a little anxious is play jazz music. Soft jazz music does it for me. It calms me down. You have something that will do it for you. Think about that something. Now, if you can't think of anything, you can always deep breathe. So breathe in and out. Inhale and exhale 10 times. And the central nervous system will begin to calm down. There are 4 categories of cues to anger. 4 categories. These categories are physical cues, behavioral cues, emotional cues, and cognitive cues. Now, briefly to talk about each category, I'll start with physical cues. This is how your body responds when you are angry. You may have increased heart rate, tightness in the chest, feeling hot, feeling flushed. Those are physical cues. What's going on is the body is going into what we call the stress response. It is gearing you up to either fight or flight. So that means you're going to stay there and fight through the situation, or you're going to flee. You're going to run away. So basically, your central nervous system is accelerated to prepare for survival. So that's what's going on as far as the physical cues. Moving to category number 2, behavioral cues. This is when you do things like clench your fists, raise your voice, and stare at other people as if you're going to kill them. Oh yeah, we have been there a time or two, right? Be honest with yourself. If you're honest with yourself and you recognize your behavioral cues, then you can control it. Moving on to category 3, emotional cues, meaning that others' feelings have brought on feelings for you of fear, hurt, jealousy, or disrespect. So there's something that someone else have done to make you feel these emotions. These are your emotional cues. Once again, fear, hurt, jealousy, or disrespect. The final category is cognitive cues. When we engage in cognitive cues, we do not recognize it as cognitive. Cognitive means to think. So we do not recognize it as such. What we will do is engage in things like hostile self-talk. Like you may say in your mind, if she does that again, I'm going to slap the mess out of her. If that child doesn't pick up that item off of the floor after I've told him 2 to 3 times, I am going to go over there and get in his face and yell at him. So images of aggression and revenge is taking place at this particular time. Moving through the literature. So what you should do to ensure that your anger stays low is to monitor your anger for the week. Now, here are some questions that you should consider. What was your highest number that you reached on the anger meter during the past week? Remember, the anger meter goes from 1 to 10. What was the event that led to your anger? Did someone say something to you? Did someone do something to you? What are your cues that was related to the event? Did you experience physical, behavioral, emotional, or cognitive cues? And finally, for this particular session, what strategies did you use to avoid reaching 10 on the anger meter? Well, once again, we have come to the end of a session on anger management. I hope this information has been beneficial to you. And our next session will be on session 3, the anger control plan. I will help you to develop an anger control plan. So I enjoy spending time with you today. And remember to love always.